Hey everybody.
Silence your phones. I didn't say that all week, did I?
This is your host, Ben Cross.
We're gonna go ahead and get started. One of our final events, Dueling Perspectives. I didn't see any of this last year, so I really can't speak off of any authority, but apparently it's pretty popular. So I'm personally looking forward to seeing this great debate, and I want to turn things over to the creator, the father of MSC Dueling Perspectives, our first vice chair, Oded Karmi. Thanks, man.
All right, guys, it's gonna be some fun. We're gonna have some fun today, so hope you're ready to rumble. So welcome to the debate of the week, Dueling Perspectives. It is sponsored by Gentle Giant. I want to thank my good friends in my local market, Gentle Giant. I think Tom won the debate last year, if I remember correctly. So they're deeply involved with this. Thank you for your sponsorship. Exactly. So we will watch a short video from them and then move forward to the debate of the century. Take it away.
Good morning. My name is Tom O'Gorman, CEO of Gentle Giant Moving and Storage Company. It's great to be back at the ATA Moving and Storage Convention again this year, surrounded by so many great companies. Gentle Giant is primarily a household goods mover. We've been in business for over 45 years, headquartered in Boston, Massachusetts. We now operate 27 locations across 12 different states. We have 500 to 600 employees. We strongly promote from within, and all of our offices are run by people who come in and work on the trucks on day one and work their way up through our system. Our goal is to continuously improve on the service that we deliver to our customers, whether it's local, household goods, some commercial work. Gentle Giant also operates over 400,000 square feet of warehouse space for storage purposes. We also do some final mile delivery and logistics work. We've got a piano moving division and also provide some specialty and third-party related service work in some of our key areas. It's great to be here and enjoy the rest of the convention. Thank you.
Thanks again to Gentle Giant. Great company, great supporter of MSC, great supporter of independence. Can't thank you enough. We wouldn't be able to do this without you. So let me tell you a little bit about what we're doing here today, because we are constantly changing up this format. So it's going to be a little different than last year. This year, we're going to pit East Coast and West Coast against each other to debate some of the hottest topics in the moving industry right now. During the debate, we're going to ask for your participation. We want you to vote on who delivered the most compelling case for the various topics. And remember, vote on who argued the best, not which position you necessarily agree in. That's a really important part of this. In many situations, somebody might not be arguing the point that they really agree with, but they're still there to try to drive a message and be the best debater. So we're really ranking who's doing the best debating and not which position you necessarily agree with. Because it's an association meeting. Let's go to the antitrust. Let's move that. All right. So I just want to remind everyone that antitrust rules are in effect. This debate is designed to be fun, entertaining, and informative. It is not advising anyone on how to conduct their business operations. And honestly, if there's something that you hear that you think that's going close to the line, just say something and we'll move on. All right. So without any further ado, I would like to introduce the East Coast debaters. Introducing Jason Moyer, President and CEO of Moyer & Sons Moving and Storage, based out of Maryland, and Stefan Cordero, General Manager of Stewart Moving and Storage out of Jacksonville, Florida. Put it up for the East Coast. All right. Next, we have our team from the West Coast. Cue the music. There we go. All right. And through the door, we have our West Coast duo, introducing Justin Hart, CEO of Just-in-Time Moving and Storage and Chair of Independent Movers, and Jeanette Holman, CEO of Lambert Enterprise out of California and current Chair of the California Moving and Storage Association. And I will add one more thing. Another thing that we added, in addition to the live voting, in addition to East Coast, West Coast, we're also live on LOVE+RELO being simulcast right now. So if you're listening online, let's have some fun. All right, are we ready over here? Teams, are you ready to go?
Sounds good.
Are you ready to rumble? Let's do it. Okay. So let me just give you a little bit about the format. 2 teams. We picked 8 debate topics that are going to be debated. I'm going to give 2 minutes to each side to make their initial argument, and then another 2 minutes to each side, so 8 minutes in total per topic for rebuttals. And we're going to start with a hot one. We're going to start with a good one. And that is about the declassification of marijuana and whether that is a good thing to allow us to be able to hire people, hire drivers. It's legalized in many states. Or is it a bad thing? Is it a driver safety concern? And so I think we are going to, in this case, I can tell you who the pro and anti. We got West Coast, surprise, surprise, right, being pro, and we got East Coast anti. And I'm going to start with the West Coast team. Give us your argument. Why should we allow this?
Yes.
All right, thank you, Oded. So first and foremost, everybody in this room agrees that safety comes first, right? Our crews drive trucks, our drivers drive millions of miles across this country, operate equipment, work inside customers' homes. The problem is that our current testing system does not measure impairment, it measures presence. Therefore, THC this is no secret, it can be in your system for up to 30 days. It cannot determine currently whether or not somebody is impaired. And that seems to be the big sticking point as to why we are so just not embracing THC and THC declassification. But we have to face the fact that it is legal across our country. It's legal in almost every state in a medical perspective, which means essentially it's recreational for the majority of those people. But that being the case, our law enforcement already has tools to deal with impairment. Officers can perform roadside field sobriety tests, use reasonable suspicion, and charge drivers with DUI based on impairment, regardless of substance involved. So right now, we are disqualifying many safe drivers in this country for what may have happened weeks earlier while the industry struggles with labor shortages. To me, it makes zero sense why we aren't evolving with the times. What happened to the moving industry? What are we constantly battling at these conferences in our industry? Failure to evolve. This is something we have to take seriously. We have to look at and realize it makes sense for us to move forward. As we continue to develop testing, continue to declassify THC, make it a legal substance when used properly that does not disqualify very good drivers from continuing to operate.
That's it.
Anything to add? Yeah.
Yeah, so piggybacking on what Justin just said, what the industry needs is refined testing methods and a standard for intoxication. We don't care what somebody did, what a driver did 2 weeks ago, at least I don't, but what I do care is when he gets behind the wheel, if he's impaired or not. So we need better testing methods, and we also...
Jeanette, sorry to cut you off. We're at 2 minutes. We are moving on to the other team. Stefan, take us away.
All right, so I'm going to kind of agree a little bit with them, but at the same point, I feel as though that they need to not allow marijuana just because of the fact of, number one, you're basing it on the same point as alcohol, okay? Somebody is impaired. Impaired driving should not be allowed in a commercial motor vehicle, period. If you turn around and, somebody's driving a tractor trailer and they're impaired, they get into an accident, it's affecting millions of lives, period. We wouldn't accept it if it was alcohol. Yes, there is testing methods for sobriety, but when it comes to alcohol, there's a zero tolerance policy. You can't have alcohol in the truck. You can't have it in your system, period. Otherwise, you lose your CDL. It's just that simple.
All right, guys, short and sweet. Do we have a rebuttal, West Coast?
Sure, I do. So yesterday, a young lady spoke about limited English proficiency for our drivers. She mentioned that 2,000 drivers were removed from their position. Well, it only takes one driver that's impaired, and we need to make sure that we find those drivers that are impaired driving, right? I recently had surgery at Stanford University, and when I left, I didn't want to take pain medication because I don't like it. They suggested gummies. They said it's safer and it's better for you. Stanford University.
Just to add to that, impairment's already handled through DUI laws and field sobriety testing. We're working to better that as we go on. If safety is the goal, we should test for impairment, as Jeanette said. You know, currently we're not testing for safety, we're testing for history, and that's the problem.
Yes.
You guys kind of argued yourselves out of it because you said you want to declassify, yet they don't have the testing in place for impairment on the road.
Sure.
Right? So until that's even there, it should be anti.
Yeah, that's where we'll have to agree to disagree.
No breaking from form.
And I was gonna say, and to add on to that, with marijuana, person's weight, person's physical condition, all of it determines how marijuana affects them. Whereas kind of similar to alcohol, but it's more instantaneous. With marijuana, as you can see, some people it sits in their system for longer periods of time. I'm sorry, I'm just all for the no tolerance policy. You know, when it comes to people's lives going down the road, you know, we don't stand for it with alcohol. I'm sorry, but it should be the same way with marijuana.
All right. That's the end of first debate topic. So follow the instructions on the screen. On the conference app, you can go in and I want you to vote on who you think argued or debated this topic better, whether it was West Coast or East Coast. I'll
The
remind
policies
you,
are just
West
way
Coast voted
outdated
for
on this, you know,
declassifying
and
no
it stays in
longer
your system
testing.
for 30 days to 60 days. So it's like, you know, there's no way to really test if someone's under the influence right now. It's just a sticky wicket. I get it.
It's a little bit more operational in nature. And you heard General Giant saying they have, I don't know, like 127 locations or something like that. So, you know, a lot of us want to have a lot of locations, right? So what do we do when we are opening up a new locations? Are we looking at targets, acquisition targets, buying existing organizations? Or are we building from scratch? Are we leasing a warehouse, bringing trucks over, hiring people, and starting a new location from scratch? We have West Coast on building from scratch. We have East Coast on growth through acquisition. And since I started with West Coast last time, I'm going to start with East Coast this time. Why growth through acquisition?
You want to go? You want to go?
I'll add because I'm not going to speak too much because he's already done it in his company, or their company has done it in acquisition. But you know, when you're looking to open up branches, I know there's people that will take current members of the team where they want to move, open up a new branch. But it's also very strategic when you're looking at how you want to grow, why you want to grow, to look at companies that maybe do that very well, and you are acquiring them and you're bringing them on your team to grow. Now I'll pass it over to you because you've done it.
So I would say on the growth through acquisition, there's a lot of benefits to acquiring an existing company. Number one is usually they have a revenue stream coming in already. You're not trying to literally build from the ground up. You have that revenue stream coming in. You have employees that you can, you know, hopefully train, teach, learn your methodology, but also, you know, equipment, all of that acquisition cost, initial cost when you're doing a startup, it's not needed. You know, you just have to be selective in what kind of organization you're taking over, and, you know, move forward with the proper plan.
Awesome. West Coast, what do you think?
Sure. Essentially, you know, acquisitions can look great on paper. They look very attractive, as Stefan was saying. You bring in instant revenue, you bring in instant market presence. But the number one reason acquisitions fail is cultural integration. So that's the one thing that you cannot buy. Look at companies like Gentle Giant, our sponsor today. They've grown primarily through building operations intentionally, replicating their culture in each location. That's something that is very difficult to do through an acquisition. I'll take an example. There's a company that I work with who's acquired about 10 companies over the past 3 years. I spoke with the owner of that company, who I'm very close friends with. He indicated that the North Carolina acquisition that they made was the best one they ever made, and they still struggled to maintain operations or maintain people from that original company. So essentially, someone who does a great job, such as Stefan has, with growth, it's hard to argue against from that standpoint for him. But for the majority of us, your culture is everything you have, and that's something that's hard to replicate through acquisition.
Absolutely. And to piggyback on that, Justin, today the gentleman that gave the presentation had a slide up that said 70% of transformations are unsuccessful. So you're operating on a 30% hope, right? Also, in the military arena, now you're assuming somebody else's liability. You open up that storage and you deliver it a year later. You don't know what you're going to find in those crates. And with the military members having up to 1 year to file a claim, you've just assumed all of those moves liability for claims.
Ooh, good arguments coming out of the West Coast. What do you got, East Coast?
What you're missing in that is there's more movers who try to open up a second, third, fourth location in markets they're not familiar with, and it's way harder than you think. Being in the DC area, running a DC-based company versus 30 miles up the road in a Baltimore metropolitan area, two completely different markets, right? So if you're not strategic in who you're partnering with, then you're going to have a lot of trouble. Culture, you wouldn't go find a company, vet that company, go through all the process you're going through if it's not a good fit. So the cultural thing doesn't work unless you're just a terrible judge of character, and I hope you're not because you're running a company.
And then I would.
Well, I'll argue with you. I actually am a terrible
Let him finish their rebuttal.
But I would turn around and also say, culture can be brought into an organization, like Justin just said. When you're looking at that potential purchase, it's for reasons, and usually a lot of times that person that you're looking to purchase might have even reached out to you because he knows you're going to be a good fit for his organization, because he's looking to make sure that his organization doesn't just wither and go away. So you usually have some variables in there that, maybe you don't see eye to eye, or, your current organization will do something a little bit different, but how you put leadership in that place, not saying that you keep everybody, but how you put leadership in that place and how they recognize that culture and change it, it's a whole lot easier than starting from day one in a brand new building that's got no revenue, no customers, no customer base, nothing. So.
All right, you get the final word, West Coast. So what do you got?
Essentially, the fact that Jason made the point of it's hard to, and so does Stefan, it's hard to break into markets that already have established companies and provide work. That's how I started my company. And it's not that the moving industry is so full of reputable companies that it's so hard to differentiate yourself in this market. There are a ton of underserved markets that you can expand into without a ton of cost, build from the ground up, bring your culture, bring your structure, bring your systems. You don't have to go into Washington, D.C. or Maryland to get started. There's a ton of good-sized cities around this country who need reputable movers, don't have enough of them, and that's where I think you can have success without having to have millions of dollars or private, venture capitalists coming in and helping you grow your business.
True. And also, Justin, I have to say that unless someone's retiring out, aging out, there's a reason why they're selling, and it's probably because they couldn't make it. So I've seen that happen a lot in my surrounding area. People asking if I'm interested in buying their companies, and I'm like, nope, I know what I'm doing. I'm going to stick with what I'm doing.
All right, so we're going to go to our voting app again. I will report.
I think the acquisition versus organic growth is really a question of what are you trying to do? Are you trying to, sell to private equity? In which case, I think you need to look at acquisition because it's a lot more aggressive, and they look for that hockey stick growth. But you're going to be servicing that debt, and you're going to be paying for other people's goodwill, and you got to really decide if that's what you want to do. It's very costly to do that.
Or do you take it to a third party? And we're going to have West Coast They're taking it to West Coast Customs. They're going outside shop, and East Coast is keeping it in house. And so I will now start with the West Coast, so East Coast can have the last word.
I'll take it. Thank you. So every operation is different. Everyone in this industry runs their operations a little differently. I would say that for the small stuff, it's easy. Your maintenance, your 90-day inspections, definitely do that in-house. But most of the time when your trucks break down, they're not even in the area. You have to build relationships with an outside mechanic. I have a mobile mechanic. Works great. Justin?
Yeah, just to add to that, basically, you know, any of you in here that own trucks know that modern trucks require crazy amount of advanced diagnostics and specialized equipment. That is very difficult to maintain in-house, especially if you run more than one brand of truck or even one model year for that matter. So you're going to start running yourself in circles and costs trying to keep up with that, as opposed to making a relationship with several good shops in your network and getting your trucks in and out of there. The biggest argument against this is probably going to be something along the lines of getting your trucks back on the road, and the longer they sit in a mechanic shop, that, you know, you're losing revenue. That is absolutely true. But as the industry has evolved over the last probably 10, 15 years, you're seeing a ton of smaller independent fleet management companies that you can outsource that work to, that develop relationships and already have those with mechanic shops, that you're able to get your trucks and service shops in and out quickly. They want your business. They know that you own moving trucks, and they break down, seems like every day usually. So at least one truck has an issue. So for that being the case, the argument of, you know, getting speed of your trucks back on the road is really flawed, in the fact that there's opportunities out there that don't require you to have an in-house employee who you have to pay for insurance for and buy equipment for just to keep trucks maintained. It's a big undertaking. I mean, essentially, you know, we move furniture, we don't rebuild transmissions, and we should stick to that.
Jen, anything to add?
I'll do the rebuttal.
Okay, let's move it to the East Coast.
You haven't heard it yet.
When you're very strategic in what you're trying to do, right? And that could be, you know, I'll give you an example. I'll use us as an example. We buy all international. That's purposely done because our in-house mechanic now knows all those trucks. He can now work with all the drivers hands-on to teach them the trucks better. And over time, instead of having to call these other companies up to help you, they can simply call him, even if they're not in the area. Say the driver's in California, he's calling our guy in Maryland. He can walk them through, you know, even little things. Obviously, if there's big issues, you have to go to an outside source if you're not in our hometown, right? But they know the trucks, they know the parts, right? You know, you said I can't remember what your argument was. You kept arguing for us and saying that's not a very good thing, right? But the guys, you know, he's there in the morning with him. He's doing the inspections with him. He's answering questions for them. He's teaching them things. So it's not that he's doing all those little things every day. He's actually helping level up the drivers, as well as know all the trucks, the parts, and the pieces.
I'm going to just add a couple of quick topics, but number one, at probably a $200 an hour shop labor rate, you can get an in-house mechanic for easily less than half of that. So labor rate, again, you argue the point about, you know, having your trucks on time, you know, repaired as quickly as possible. That is worth its weight in gold for anybody. You understand, you know, between truck repairs and just getting weights, the time that is wasted by a crew, in those two options alone, it can save you thousands of dollars on the in-house side. And then, you know, just routine maintenance, like, you know, kind of like Justin said, you know, the pre-trips that stops you from getting held up at the scales, catching all the little minor stuff that needs to be, you know, caught in your pre-trip inspection, fixing lights, all of that. It exponentially saves you time with just a little bit of
All right,
hours.
cut off. Good argument. Let's see the rebuttal.
Yeah, I think that it's all about scale.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
You
I'm
need a
with her on
fleet
that
of
one.
in-house mechanics if you own all internationals.
They
You're
were
right.
the last ones to become CARB compliant. So that's a huge issue for California. Their engine sucks. Sorry, unless it has a Cummins, I'm not buying it. Sorry, I hope
So
I'm not
does
offending
California.
anybody in here. Okay, so you're looking at two problems if you have an in-house mechanic in California. One of them is EPA issues, oil, things of that nature. The other thing is your workers' comp classification code. We're not mechanics, we're movers.
Yeah, and after Jason and Stefan finished building their mechanic shop and training their mechanics with all the hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment so they can keep those international trucks running, I wish them the best, and I look forward to seeing them at the American Trucking Association Mechanics Conference next year.
Just call me next time you see our trucks driving through your state.
Whoa, very good format. Is West Coast done, or do you have anything else on this topic?
We're good.
All right, back to East Coast.
So I'm going to say, if you're up to date on your like ELD compliance, most of the error codes that happen in a truck come free, so you don't really have to buy software. It'll tell you what's wrong with the truck from the nice computer screen in your office. But to add to that too, we wouldn't have half of the problems we have with in-house safety if we didn't have to do the California card compliance that costs everybody thousands and
We're
thousands and
trying to get
thousands
that
of
changed,
dollars.
Stefan, okay?
Look, no, but as far as expense goes and all, you can drastically reduce the downtime and just the cost in general with an in-house mechanic. Even if he just does the small stuff that takes a day, dropping off the truck at the shop, your bills will be cut in half. They really will.
Jason, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
I have good news for you, East Coast.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, how many trucks do you need to have in order for it to make sense to have an in-house mechanic and all the gear and equipment you have to have and all the vast amount of expertise from the tires to the transmission? I mean, how do you even do that? Seems crazy.
How we as organizations tell our COD salespeople to approach opportunities. There's two lines of thought, right? There's kind of the hard sell. When you're really going after the customer, you're calling them multiple times, you're sending them multiple communications, you're all over it, right? And then there's another school of thought, which is kind of more easygoing country store approach, right? Where you're not necessarily playing hard to get, but you're not desperate, right? And so we're going to see which approach, or we're going to argue which approach is better. And again, surprise, surprise, West Coast is the easygoing, laid-back surfers, and we got the
Saw that weed we're smoking.
exactly all the weed they're smoking, and we got all the we have the East Coast, the kind of the Wall Street, stock market East Coast hard sellers. I believe I started with East Coast last time, so. Or did I start with West Coast?
East, West, East, West Coast.
All right, West Coast, take it away.
Okay. Essentially, this is no secret here that moving is one of the most stressful events in someone's life, right? People are relocating their families, their jobs, their livelihoods, their households. So the last thing anybody here wants is a pushy salesperson coming into their home, trying to force them to sign a contract, and just kind of get the business, right? We're not car salesmen, and maybe that's why Jason is going to argue for pushy salespeople. He's actually a mechanic at heart, and that's kind of the way they are. No offense to the mechanics in the room, but pushy salespeople may get someone to sign the contract, but consultants who listen, guide, and solve problems earn something much more valuable. They earn that client for life. And that's something that, there's a lot of topics that I'll probably not have very good points on today, and this may be one of them, but I feel passionately about it. I've spent the last 21 years literally being a source for clients to help them find a quality mover and have a good move, whether that's us or not. Now, I believe that's us. I guide them to believe that's us, and we're very successful at getting them to believe that as well. But coming in and forcing ourselves on them like a used car salesman, not the way to go.
I agree, Justin. Most of the time when I'm shopping for a car, I go after they're already closed because I don't want a salesman running after me. So nobody likes a high-pressure salesman. And what I prefer is for my service, my reputation, my trust, and my loyalty. Those are the things that sell.
Essentially, pushy salespeople get contracts, trusted advisors get lifelong customers, and that's what you want.
Okay, East Coast, what do you got to say about that?
Coming of age, it's all great movie, Glengarry Glen Ross. ABC, always be closing, right? in a world that's getting faster and faster, and
Yes,
people want to hit a
sales.
push, they want to push a button and be able to buy things. Why are we able to replicate that in the sale, right? We can still, if you are trained correctly and have the right paperwork, and you can still make them feel comfortable, you can leave the kitchen table with a signature and have that move ready to go. So it's all about how you're training your sales staff. They don't have to be the used car salesman, call their manager and do all these things you're saying that you have to do if you're a hard sell. It's just a matter of having everything together, going out and getting the signatures at the table, because I want them to close on jobs. I don't want to sit there and hold hands for 2 weeks waiting for, you know, the husband to talk to the wife to talk to the husband, or go talk to their mom to see what the right decision is. I want them to know we're the right decision because we have 57 years to back it up.
To add to that too, you know, a lot of times nowadays, customers aren't giving you a month or 2 months to give them a quote and move. They're spur of the moment type people now. It's, you know, everything is upbeat, and you know, you have less than probably 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Sometimes people are just turn around. It's like, hey, I woke up this morning and decided I wanted to move. So if you can pressure them, but pressure them nicely into, you know, buying the services that you're trying to sell them, I think it would go a long way.
Thanks, Stefan. West Coast?
Yeah, come back with that is I agree with you to a certain extent that you don't have a lot of time to get the customer to become your customer, right? They're looking for a mover. They're not going to wait around. That's exactly why you don't need to pressure them. You need to be the professional solution that they're looking for. And your focus should be on speed to lead, responsiveness, and follow-up, not pressure. And that's where we focus our efforts.
Also, there's a high cancellation rate. Sometimes when people get 3 quotes, 3 bids, they may sign up with you, but then I could get there and they might like me better. So then you would get a cancellation.
Good thing you're in California, not Maryland.
East Coast, last rebuttal.
I think
You're looking at hard selling as a negative thing. You're twisting it to be a negative thing, and it's really, how can I do what you're doing faster than you, right? It's a hard sell. I can do it faster, and I can do it better, and I can have them. And you know what they're not doing? They're not calling me to change because they're not going to like anybody better.
All right, let's vote on this topic. Let's go to the voting app.
What is their conversion rate? That's what I want to know. Take these 4 companies and show me what their COD conversion rate is, and let the numbers speak for themselves, I think.
Earlier this year or earlier last year, we all kind of had thoughts during that. A lot of us that did a lot of military, where did we put too many eggs in that military basket? And so the question, military moving, focus on business growth. You know, DP3's here. It's almost peak season. There's going to be a lot of shipments. Or focus on growing other lines of business, right? You kind of been through a period of an uncertainty. You survived it. Do you now look at putting your energy into growing other lines of business? So we're going to have East Coast essentially saying we're going to keep on doing the military work. We're going to take advantage of the work that's available for us. And West Coast kind of saying, you know, we've been here before. Let's do something different. So I'll start with the East Coast. What do you think?
So in the military world, you know, the one thing that always comes to mind is consistency when it comes to a volume of shipments. Okay, we know that the government line of business is going to be there. Now it's really just a matter of how well you perform in that market in order to succeed and possibly even capture more of a market than you're in right now. As it relates to the profitability side of things, well, that's another topic for another day. But you have the availability to fine tune your organization and try to make more of what is out there, but you know it's going to be there. Whereas in the commercial side of things, if housing sales drop, you know, if you don't have a customer, you can't grow. You know, so the profit is meaningless if there's no customer there to get a profit from. So that's going to be one of my main topics there.
The military is the largest moving contract in the world, right? So to not use it to grow, when you already have manpower, you already have trucks. If you have warehouse space, it helps increase your revenue. It keeps you steady. You can get, you're filling up your warehouses. And you know that the military turnaround, most of these guys are moving every 2 to 3 years. There's a reason why they have the term military practice. They move so many times, right? So you know that moves are always going to be coming no matter what. You don't have to undercut your hourly rate to try to get that extra local move just to keep your guys working. You know that you know what you're getting into. Well, except for the last few years.
I was just saying,
But the industry fall for that. But it's constantly revolving, and it's steadily coming in, and you don't have to necessarily go out and fight.
Thank you, Jason. West Coast?
So I've been moving military moves or performing military moves, servicing military moves for about 37 years now. In the last 5 years, it has been the most unstable, unfriendly environment I have ever encountered. I say diversify. We must look into other avenues of revenue. Some of them, most of them probably have higher profit margins. And so if we want to continue to stay in business, we need to look at evolving. In fact, I say the 3 E's. Embrace the change, continue to evolve, or you become extinct.
Great job. Just to add to that, I believe that Jason and Stefan made some really good points for us that I'll continue on, such as the volume argument. Volume is wonderful. Who here likes doing work without profit? Cool. All right. So you cannot deposit volume in the bank, right? I don't want to fill my warehouses up. I don't want to fill my trucks up with things that aren't making us money. There's absolutely no point to doing that. Now, don't get me wrong. We handle some military work in our company. Part of the different verticals that we diversify into. We serve the most important families and communities in this country, but it historically has thin margins, operational complexity, and when you dive into one segment because of the volume and it dominates your business, you become dependent on someone else's pricing decisions. That's one of the best things that I enjoy about operating our company is that we can set our prices, we can decide the work we're going to do, and we don't become beholden to volume just for the sake of filling up our warehouse.
Well, Justin, if you think it's too complex, I'm sorry. I was holding all that when I actually forgot the point I wanted to make. I got so stuck on that. I really did lose my train of thought just thinking about saying that.
So I will say,
Rescue himself.
the part about volume, I understand, that yes, you don't want to absorb so much volume and do it for free, right? But when the economy is down and things are down in the housing market the way they are, national account business is down, you do have that stable business line of the government work where you can, if you are a performer, if you excel in your organization and you do a good job and you show up every day and do what you're supposed to do, more of that business will come to your organization. And then on top of that, you find ways to refine and hone in on what you're doing right to maximize efficiency and maximize your profit.
So real quick, because I didn't remember what I was going to say. You talk about profitability, right? And as I look around this room, I'm looking at very profitable, smart movers who are probably
Diversified.
90% military, right? They might be diversified after the last few years, but for years and years and years, I come to these conferences, and there's very, very smart people in this room who are primarily military movers that are doing very well. So profitability, again, Justin, if you can't handle the complexity of a bank account and how to make it profitable, I can't help you.
It's not about complexity, it's about addition and subtraction.
You do get the last word.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
finish up.
So
Shots fired
essentially,
over
now
here.
I've lost my train of thought. It's too complex for
Guys
me.
are really
Starting to
good.
hate me.
But I've seen, I know that GHC wrecked the military moving world the last several years. That's no secret. And that's kind of, the realm that I'm speaking from is from that point and forward. I saw a lot of friends, agents, people that I know, not just struggle, but go out of business because they were heavily, heavily vested in military. So when things
So
hit the
true.
fan, and it will again at some point in the near future, because we're by no means out of the woods with where we're heading, you've got to be ready for that. And that's why, especially at the MSC, we used to have tons of military-focused sessions. Now our sessions are on diversity and FF&E and how do you expand your business into different areas? How do you get into household goods? Seeing it across the spectrum. So I'll leave it at that. But That's what I'll stick with.
Well, Jason, I'm glad you
Man, this was a really good one. I mean, there's so many businesses that are just all military, and Justin's absolutely right. People have been going out of business. Military will spoil your business because you just wait for the moves to show up in your inbox, and you stop learning how to go get the business and how to sell yourself. Um, it's just a lazy way to run a business. But there's some really big businesses out there that are just 95% military. It's true, but you can't think it's going to be around forever either. GHC showed us that, and even while GHC went away, it's still the writing's still on the wall that they're going to make changes. And if you're wholly dependent on military business, that's tough.
Let's vote who debated it better. That's a good one. I actually enjoyed that one. And I'll introduce topic number 6. And this is actually an interesting one because we internally in my company talk about this a lot. And that is your review strategy. Are you screening who you are sending your reviews to? Meaning that, you have happy customers, you're sending them, you want to build up your Google review, your Yelp, or whatever it is. Or are you sending out to everybody because you want it as a true indication of how you're doing and if people are happy with your services? So we're going to have the East Coast on screening, using it as a tool and sending it to customers that are going to give you either positive or negative feedback. And West Coast just saying send it to everybody. And I believe I started with you guys last time, right? So we'll go West Coast. Why should we be sending reviews to everybody?
Oh, I'm sorry. You said West Coast. I was
I did.
reading my notes. All right. Okay. I actually give a rebate for every customer that I move, a COD move, if they will go on social media and give me a great review. I want every review. And, also, I feel like you have a more authentic reputation if you do that. I'm not afraid to receive any reviews because I want the highest level of service that I can provide my customers. And so if you're afraid to ask for every customer for a review, maybe you probably could have a service problem.
Yeah, and to add to that, reviews are basically the modern version of word of mouth marketing, right? When Love was first started, there weren't review platforms, or they were just starting maybe, and people business came from your word of mouth and doing a good job for people and leaving it at that. So authentic reviews build trust with customers, and that's why it's important to know and have a pulse on what your clients are thinking, not just the ones that you hit a home run with. That's easy. Of course I want those reviews, but I don't want to focus just on that. One of the worst things you can do is ignore those clients that maybe won't leave you a bad review, but aren't happy with your company. And they're still telling their friends they're not happy with you. And the only way that you're going to know that is if you ask them for feedback, good or bad. So it's hard to argue that you don't want to have a review from a client who isn't happy with you. Especially, there are a lot of methods in place to keep those reviews internal to start with, give you a chance to talk to that client, get the situation resolved, make sure they're a 5-star happy customer and with you for life. But if you're only asking the people that are happy with you for reviews, you're not getting a true picture of what your company's performance is.
East Coast? Don't serve your military customers. East Coast?
Filtering reviews isn't being scared of reviews. Filtering reviews is being able to stay on top of things on a day-to-day basis and quicker. If you have an unsatisfied customer and you don't have the internal review to look at it before it goes out and they're pissed off 2 weeks later and leave a bad review, that's a 2-week gap that you left that customer alone to even get even more upset. Moving is so highly emotional, right? It's not what we do, and we just move furniture from house to house. That's like the least of it, right? It's like they have an open wallet, everybody's putting their hands in that wallet to take out money from them. It's very emotional. It's stressful. When you're in a house, how many of you got a phone call saying that, hey, this is missing or that's missing? Well, have you unpacked everything? No, right? So by having the internal review process and filtering it, I'm able to, in a quicker time frame, turn around, call that customer up, see what happened. Doesn't mean I'm still not sending the Google link, but I'm able to filter it a lot faster to problem solve and or train if there is a service issue.
I was going to say, I think here reviews come with customer service. So if you have a good customer service team, how you internally organize those reviews or what the customer service team is getting from feedback, you can turn around and, again, solve those problems quicker, handle it with the customer. So then in turn, you're almost to the point where you can pretty much send out a review link to everybody because you've handled that internally before it got to the point that you need to be worried about what kind of review they're going to leave. So by handling it in-house, handling it with your customer service team, you can easily solve those problems and not so much worry about the bad reviews. But, we all have the customers that you're never going to satisfy. It doesn't matter. You can jump through hoops and give them thousands of dollars back and they're still not going to be happy. I'm still not going to send that person a link. So
West Coast?
Well, they can review your company whether you send them a link or not. So that's something to be aware of. But essentially, consumers don't trust companies who hide from their criticism, right? It's a bad review. If you're a company who really does everything in your power to not let a bad review get onto your website, that's not necessarily the way to go. Customers want to see some diversity in reviews. Now, they don't want to see a 3-star company. They want to see a 4.7, 4.8, 4.9 star company, but they want to see how you respond to those negative reviews and what your stance was and how you help that client. It's not necessarily a bad thing to get a bad review. It's an opportunity. And do you want to keep it from getting to that point? Of course. But at the end of the day, we want to know how we're doing. We're not afraid to respond to that publicly and address those issues and show everybody else that we are a reputable company who will take care of their problems. Most customers who look for a company and see nothing but 5-star reviews are extremely suspicious of those companies. So you need to have a little bit of depth there.
Good point, Justin. And transparency builds trust.
East Coast?
I don't have to send them a Google link to go to Google to leave me a review.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I just checked this, right? And it is illegal soliciting reviews is legal, but under new FTC rules, it is illegal to buy, fabricate, or manipulate them to deceive customers. Prohibited practices include paying for positive reviews, using fake accounts, or coercing customers and incentivizing only positive feedback while suppressing negative reviews. So that is a definite risk you want to watch.
I echo what Jason said.
Okay, great. Everybody, let's go to the votes. And let's, Danielle, want to give me an update? How are we looking for? What is it? 3-2 West Coast in the lead, East Coast. Let's go. I'm from the East Coast. So let's move on to the next topic while you guys vote. And this is another one that's kind of, it doesn't really tread on ethics, but different companies have different viewpoints on this. And that's when it comes to gratuity. Moving is one of those trades that gratuity historically has been something that is given. Not really military and COD though, it's very traditional. Some companies feel like it's inappropriate to encourage that. Some companies think it's a benefit to their movers. So COD tips, encourage or discourage. We're going to go with East Coast discouraging them and West Coast encouraging them. East Coast, start with that. What do we got?
The tipping culture and the tip buttons are out of control. You all get pissed off when you go to Starbucks. You get pissed off when you go to all these establishments. There's a tip button at the end of the day, right? And how can you say, well, that's just to help my guys out? No, can you imagine you're tired, you've been moving all day? Hey, hit this tip button to leave my, and what are they supposed to say? No? Did they earn the tip or was that almost forcing them to tip, right? If you pay well, you treat your people well, a tip is a luxury that they get for doing a great job. That's part of training, right? There's a very good article that just came out last week. I'll be good and not name the company, but there's a New York Post article how the tipping culture got out of control and the crew started forcing tip talk to get more tips. It should be earned, not a button, right? I didn't make any notes about the subject because I hate tip talk. I hate the tipping culture we're in. If you pay them well, then they don't need to worry about it. They're going to earn it by doing a great job.
I'm going to add to that. Kind of agree with him as well, but if your guys are walking in the door and saying, hey, we're going to do all this, and by the way, don't forget about giving us a tip at the end. I know it doesn't happen exactly like that, but they have their ways of influencing that throughout the course of the day. And it just makes the whole thing uncomfortable. You know, customers want to know that they're paying for a service, that they're getting a good service. And if you have good movers and they're doing a good job and they're going the extra mile for that customer, they all know that, you know, a tip would be nice, whether it be, you know, lunch, breakfast, you know, cash at the end, one way or another. They will support those guys and they will give them, you know, something because of the hard efforts that they've had. So asking for it, or even I've seen some people where they have it on their bill of lading listed. I just think that's over and above the norm.
Time. West Coast.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'll agree with Jason on one thing. I don't think anybody likes talking about tips or answering customers' questions about how much do I tip your guys, so on and so forth. But I do feel like we're encouraging tips is a good thing for our team, and it builds obviously pride, and it builds a want and a desire to do well and please your customer, knowing there's a good chance they're probably going to give you something extra at the end if you do. You know, we talk about tipping culture. Why are we tired of tipping culture? Because we're asking everybody to tip for not doing anything, for turning around and handing you a bag of chips, right? That's not what we're doing as movers. We're spending 6, 8, 10, 12 hours in your home with your family, moving everything that you own, trying to do it at not only safely. Babysitting, right. Not only safely, but under the quote, right? We have a target, a metric we're trying to come in under, because the last thing we do is coming over that target. So I have absolutely no issue with encouraging tips. And when I say that, I don't mean that we're going into the home and saying, hey, good morning, we're just in time moving. Don't forget to tip us at the end of the day. Like, that's not what we're doing at all. It's just something where, simple question on our bill of lading, on our CRM, on our tablets, customer has an option to leave a tip at the end of the job. That's encouraging a tip. Maybe it makes them aware of that. They weren't thinking of it. They have a million things on their mind that day, and they do want to tip the movers and hadn't thought about it. I can't tell you how many times we've had a client call us in years past, hey, I forgot to tip the guys. I feel really bad. Can I come in and drop off some money or send you some money? And it's happened time and time and time again. So I'm an advocate for it. I've been on the trucks myself many years when I first started, and it feels good. You work all day for somebody, you bust your ass, and it's nice to get a tip. That being said, we don't expect it. We don't look at somebody funny if they don't tip us. It's not like we're a server in a restaurant, but it's absolutely appreciated and encouraged.
Absolutely, Justin. And, you know, we talk to our guys about how to be polite about it. If they ask, of course they don't expect it. They never expect it. However, it does incentivize our crew to go above and beyond. And if they go above and beyond, I think they deserve a tip. I myself, when I'm at a restaurant, 20%. But if it's not good service, I'm not going to give it. But when they see me coming back to the same old restaurant that I come to,
And time, Jeanette, on
They love
to
me.
the East Coast. Rebuttal. You'll have another chance.
We're in a service-based industry that's missed a lot. So I get why we look at tips and how there should be a button for tips. But we're also asking people to pay thousands of dollars to use our services. It's a luxury service, right? Because how many times, I'll just get my friends beer and pizza, right? We're not looked at the commodity that we all know we are. So it looks to me, it's tacky. If you're training, again, if you're training correctly, you're doing a great job, that's the culture of your company, you're gonna get tips regardless if there's a button or not. The button just looks tacky, like, hey, you should tip our guys because you know what? We're just not paying them enough, or we're not treating them the right way. So I need you to kind of counterbalance that, right? It just, to me, looks so tacky. And looking back, I went back and looked, we have no tip button. Our guys are still getting tip left and right because of what we do and how we do it, and it's a great culture.
Yeah, it just comes down to the performance of the guys. If they're doing a good job, 95% of your customers will turn around and give them a tip. Like I said, it might not be a huge monetary thing, but it could be as simple as breakfast, lunch, any of that. So they just need to focus on doing a good job and take care of your employees, and the rest will come.
Jeanette, we're back to you.
I wanted to finish my statement about the restaurant.
Go for it.
Anyway, so you get to know a regular person, and if our crews are in someone's home for 2-3 days packing, like I said, babysitting, they're there doing whatever, working with the customer, not supposed to unhook a washer, but we do it anyway because we want to go above and beyond. They love my guys. Just like the restaurant folks love seeing me come because I will take care of them. And so we don't discourage it, we don't encourage it, and we don't expect it. But my guys will go above and beyond to make that customer happy.
Yeah, basically, when our crews protect belongings, work efficiently, and save customers money, during the course of a move, encouraging a tip simply recognizes great service, and that's what the idea of a tip is. Nothing wrong with encouraging it. I will admit that, yeah, you'll get tips without a tip button on your tablets, or on your software. But when we went to that, I would venture to say we nearly doubled the amount of tips people are bringing home on a regular
Not
basis.
everyone has cash to do a tip.
Very few people
Or
carry
think
cash
ahead of
nowadays.
time to have cash.
All right, let's go to the voting on top.
Tipping is super interesting because obviously everybody wants to take care of people. Nobody wants to be the bad guy and not tip somebody. Nobody wants to infer that these people don't work hard. We all feel kind of guilty about it, right? But at the end of the day, pay people a fair wage and remove that weird friction point of the tip, That's how I feel.
East Coast is anti, West Coast is pro. We will start with West Coast.
Okay, sure. It's no secret, many moving companies miss a large percentage of inbound calls, right? AI can answer those calls for you instantly and capture opportunities that humans miss, and then you can't afford to staff your phones 24 hours a day. The best salesperson in your company is the one who answers the phone. And where we are now with the different products that are out there with AI voice agents, are they foolproof? No. Will you have some unhappy customers that call and don't want to talk to the AI? Absolutely. Are there ways that you can combat that? Sure. We've done that at our company. We took an AI voice agent, installed it. It took a little bit of time to get it right, to give people the right options and listen to the feedback and figure out how to make it work. And it also learns as time goes on. But what I can tell you is, in Q4 of 2025, we had 57 calls to our AI voice agent that converted into booked moves. Now, how many of those would have converted if we didn't have that voice agent available? The number one reason that you book a client, whether you're a hard pressure sales or not, is speed to lead, responsiveness, getting that client service anytime that they reach out to you. And the AI voice agent is just one way that you can do that.
Absolutely. Also, how many people in this room, when you call somebody, a friend, and they don't answer, how many of you leave a voicemail? Yeah, I don't either. And so AI assistant will be able to do some interactive things. I don't have it yet, but I want it. Okay, I want to get it. I'm going to put a high pressure salesperson on there. I'm not going to do that. Anyway, definitely I think because a dropped call is a dropped move, lost move.
And then it's going to ask for tips at the end, right?
Yes, tips.
East Coast, what do you got?
We're already past that argument. I don't hard sell, by the way. We already lost that one, so I can say that.
Yeah.
If I walked around the room and asked you what your ideal customer would look like, it's probably a pretty, it's either a well-to-do family that can afford a move, somebody that's going to be between 40 and 65 years old that has the means and the funds to hire you. Guess what they don't want to talk to? A robot, right? Technology is great. I love it. AI is great. It's cool. There's a lot of cool things, and you can use it for a lot of cool things. But I bet if one of you got on the phone and you realized you were talking to a bot or an AI agent, you would be pissed off saying operator, person. So the clientele that I'm going after isn't somebody that wants to talk to a robot. Their kids are. Guess who's not paying for the move? Their kids, right? So AI and all this stuff's going to catch up, and there will be probably a time and a place when they're 40 to 65 years old and can afford the move. But until that day comes, I actually have I'll answer the phone call 57 times and convert those to leads and everything else, because it's funny to me being in this industry and talking to the amount of people that just had phone issues. I don't know. It's not that hard. Pick a phone. Hello, Moyer, your son's going to help you, right? It's very, very simple. So, if you need a robot to do that for you, great.
Yeah, I'm just going to echo Jason there. There's nothing better than talking to a real live human being that can answer the questions and not sit there and basically just be a informative receptionist that takes all the notes and documents it. I mean, it's so easy. Somebody could leave a voicemail, but at the same point in time, you want somebody to answer that call. You want the chance right then and there to get that person on the line, possibly give them a quote, get either a salesperson in the house or quote them over the phone, and just book that move immediately. And we've all done it, but how many times we've
Time,
hung up on
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
was going to go ahead. So this person that you were describing that can afford to pay for the move, they're probably working 8 to 5 and don't have time to call the office. I'm going to refer to my friends from the West Coast Republic Moving and Storage. They have an amazing AI phone system. Sounds like a human being that takes all the information, says someone will call you back as soon as possible. So these people are going to call you on Saturday and on Sunday, and they're going to get a voice message and hang up. So I would rather have an AI person at least getting the data, and then you can call them back at your soonest convenience.
Yeah, I mean, customers hate voicemail more than they hate AI. And I know Jason likes to answer the phone at 11 p.m. and book moves, but I don't, and I don't think most of us in here do. And I don't want to have to pay, somebody to be available 24 hours a day, ABC, 24 hours a day to be answering the phone. That's ridiculous, especially with the technology that we have now. Obviously, customers prefer human service, but they prefer immediate answers even more. And we now have the capabilities to provide that.
It just sounds like a lot of excuses to have new shiny toys. I mean, these new shiny toys are in front of our face, when the reality of it is, for the last how many years before all this came out, you were still able to book and grow your business. Now you're saying you need those tools in order to get back to customers. I know the day and times are changing. You're saying that people don't want to leave a message, but a responsible human being that is 40 to 65 is still leaving a voicemail if they're calling a business. If I'm calling you on your cell phone personally, I'm not leaving a voice message, because guess what? I'm calling your cell phone. You're saying, oh, Jason, missed call. I got to call him back.
I don't want to
That is
talk
the
to him.
message.
No, and that's kind of old school.
Stefan.
our clientele that's paying for that move, most of them are going to bed by like 8 o'clock anyway. So if you just alter your sales department, you're gonna have just add their hours a little bit to 8. You got plenty of time to take those calls and have it in person.
All right, guys, we're going to go to vote for this.
Super interesting topic here. I mean, I hate AI phone calls, but I hate not getting someone on the phone either. I'd probably take an AI after hours and a human during hours, but I also agree that these salespeople should be available later in the evening. I mean, don't quit at 5 o'clock in the, if you're a COD salesperson.
They are they're purchasing leads from lead aggregators, right? From like moving.com, relocation.com. A lot of companies don't like that. They like to do their own business development. They don't see value in that. So paid leads is moving.com, pro or anti. We got West Coast Pro, we got East Coast anti. I believe I started with you guys last time, so East Coast, give us your take here.
So I'm going to say, as far as purchasing leads, I firmly believe it is nothing but a waste of money. Those lead providers, 9 times out of 10, they're giving them to you and 5 other competitors in your market, and it literally is first one to call, and then let's just say you're second or third in line. That person has already been AI botted to the point where they are getting 15 million calls from somebody. So it doesn't matter, even if you have the best product and the best service in that market, by the time they get to you, if you're second or third in line, they are so past harassed, they don't even want to answer the phone anymore, and you might not even get through. So you try other means, you try, emails and other correspondence, and I feel as though you're just wasting your time trying to pay for a lead that potentially is not a private lead. Organic is always going to be the best. Everybody will attest to that. So, work on your website, work on, your in-house marketing to build your own organic leads, and then you don't have to worry about paying for them.
The day we brought an in-house marketer is the day our business changed. And his job for the first 2 years was not to go out and hard sell what we do, it was to go to build relationships. We forget in what we do that relationships are the most important thing. That's why most of us come to these. Yes, there's some education, but we're also to make relationships with each other, to help each other out throughout the country. And that's often forgotten in this day and age. He is so good at what he does. Other business owners say, I want a Dan. I need a Dan, right? He was getting interviewed last year doing the podcast and was like, is he a Moyer? I said, no. He's like, oh my God, I would kill to have a guy like that, right? So the important part that we sometimes forget in this day and age, again, is I'll overemphasize it, is building relationships with everybody, communities, real estate agents, whoever it is, go out there, grassroot it, build a relationship so you're not just begging for the business and the business will come to you.
West Coast, why buy leads?
Essentially, paid leads should supplement marketing, not replace it. There's no argument that organic leads are the best, homegrown relationships are the best. That's all a slow burn. You cannot scale a business waiting for referrals. It's going to take you years and years and years. I'm just saying, Jason.
I'll be with you. Sorry.
Keep it going. Keep
All
it
right.
going.
I reclaim my time. All right.
Claim my time.
Jeanette, what do you think?
Well, yeah, go ahead. I'll come
Oh,
back.
I was just going to say, does Dan have a brother? No, I'm kidding. Most people are on the internet looking for whatever they need today. Go to Amazon, go to the internet, go to Google, go wherever they're going to go. Why miss a lead when you can hire that done and get moving leads that way? So I am definitely for that.
And I'll just add one more thing. It's wonderful that Jason has a Dan. I don't have a Dan. I have a George, so I have to buy leads.
He's awesome too.
Sorry, George.
George, you're awesome.
George is actually incredible.
Go ahead, East
I
Coast.
did notice George is here
do I
trying
really
to
need
build
this?
relationships, just saying.
Do I really need to say anything else on that? I mean, I think
It's up to
I think
you.
we
It's up to
clearly
you.
made
It
the
might
point.
be 4-4. Make it
Look,
close.
what kind of leads are you looking for? You're paying $100 for 10 people to get the same lead to go ahead to your point, on the internet, to go to your website, to get that lead. Now you're spending that time for your employer, whoever is to send that quote out to follow up on that slow sale that you like to do, right? So you're wasting all this, then that $100 is now $150, but really all they're looking for is the bottom line cost and the cheapest mover. I'm not that mover. I'm not looking for it. It's a waste of money.
7.
Echo.
All right, we'll close it off with West Coast. What do you have to say about that?
So I live in a very rural area. I don't have a lot of people moving. It's a very rural area. Military is like 95% of what we do. So this would give me additional markets and an additional opportunity to service other areas.
And I would think that you would agree it doesn't replace what you're doing from an organic standpoint.
No.
But while you're waiting for your phone to ring at 10 p.m., like Jason, so you can answer it in ABC, you can get some leads that you can go after while you have downtime. And you don't have to spend $1 million on these leads. There are affordable sources out there, different job types. We purchase international leads, quite frankly, and that's been a good play for us. But that's kind of where we're at on that.
All right, so we're going to go.
I've never seen positive ROI on a paid moving lead program. I've bought them from moving.com. I've bought them from Google pay-per-click even. I mean, I've never found. I've just never found it. I've never seen positive ROI on it. You can spend a lot of money,
They're clapping for me.
Keep telling yourself that.
Oh, look at these gold chains that Danielle's bringing out. I want one of those.
Yeah.
Must be the West Coast.
Big wore some chains, man.
It's like they got some.
All right.
Oh,
Drum roll, please, everybody.
Bringing out the
And
chains.
winner.
Who's gonna win this thing? Oh wow!
West Coast.
Wow! Stunning upset right now for the West Coast. Absolutely stunning. Congratulations to Justin Hart and Jeanette Holman,
Hey, guys,
bringing home the bacon for the West Coast.
Round of applause
Look
for
at
East
that.
Coast. You guys did amazing.
Hey, what a show.
Great
Hey,
job, guys.
Thanks for everybody that got in the comments, y'all. Really appreciate you guys.
Thank you, losers.
Incredible.
Thanks again.
Hit that like
To Gentle
button.
Giant,
Tell
our
them what a great job they
sponsor.
did.
We will see you next
And
year.
we're going to wrap it up and go hit Broadway, huh? Let's go. I'm going to go rap music too. We don't have enough. Oh, yeah. We don't have enough rap music at these conferences, I think. Great job. Really.
Congratulations.
You guys are terrible voters.
Yeah.
Boy, I need the electoral.
with that.
We're gonna change our
Wow,
whole
they want to recount.
Thank you to the
East
entire
Coast wants a
panel. We
salty
really
recount.
appreciate it. You guys did a great job.
Wear those chains proud. I'm almost finished. Then we'll get that music playing, and you can wear those chains proud and get a nice photo op. As we get ready to head out, I want to thank all of our sponsors for the supporting our annual meeting.
Welcome, Ariel. Thank you.
We'll
for
look
tuning
forward to
in.
see everyone
Hit that like
at
button,
Martin's Barbecue.
comment, tag
Those of you who
somebody
weren't here last year,
if
it's
you
the
want,
exact same.
and, really appreciate y'all doing this. Let us know if we should do this again. Let us know how it went. Yeah, it's a St. Patrick's Day also. So, hey, get yourself a green beer, and much love, y'all. Appreciate you. Take care, and we'll see you next week in Puerto Rico.